The poor man who had been dumped by his girlfriend now appeared at her wedding with a confident and successful demeanor. Beside him was his new, elegant girlfriend. His change surprised the bride and made her rethink her decision. A feeling of regret flashed across her face as she looked at her husband-to-be. Albert was born and raised in a poor family in a small town. Since childhood, he had to face material shortages, but that did not make Albert falter. On the contrary, he always had an optimistic spirit and a desire to rise up to change his life. The days of working as a manual laborer to earn money to support his family trained Albert to be persistent and make constant efforts. In his sincere heart, the hope for a bright future always existed, no matter how harsh the current situation was. Ladonna grew up in a well-off family, raised with expectations of a full life and not having to worry about money. With her intelligence and charm, Ladonna quickly attracted Albert's attention. Although they came from two different social classes, they fell in love. Albert did everything to bring Ladonna happiness, even though it meant he had to work twice as hard to take care of their future. However, their beautiful love was not without its difficulties. Although their love was still very deep, Ladonna gradually felt dissatisfied with her current situation. Albert could give her sincere love, but he could not satisfy the material needs that Ladonna craved. She began to compare Albert with other men who could provide her with material security and comfort. Their arguments became more frequent, and the distance between them gradually grew. In the end, Ladonna decided to break up with Albert. The reason for the breakup was not because their love had run out, but because Ladonna could no longer live in anxiety about her financial future. She wanted a life where she did not have to worry about money, and Albert could not give her that. When Ladonna said goodbye, Albert was pushed into the abyss. His heart was broken when he saw the woman he loved the most leave him just because he did not have enough financial means to keep her by his side. After Ladonna left, Albert was immersed in pain and loneliness. The following months were a long series of days filled with suffering, longing, and disappointment. However, in the midst of that pain, Albert still maintained his determination. He knew that he could not let himself fall, could not let circumstances decide his fate. Therefore, Albert turned the pain into motivation, threw himself into work with all his strength and determination. As time passed, Albert gradually advanced on his career path. He started with small jobs, constantly learning and finding ways to improve himself. Hard work and determination helped him overcome the initial difficulties. With a steadfast spirit and constant striving, Albert built a solid career for himself. From a poor boy, he became the owner of a large company and began to taste success. Despite his financial success, Albert still felt empty inside. He had money and power, but he still could not find a woman to replace Ladonna's place in his heart. Memories of his first love with Ladonna still haunted him. 4 years had passed, but the image of Ladonna and the moments they spent together were still intact in Albert's mind. He often wondered if he could have kept Ladonna by his side when he was not successful, whether he could have a happier life now. Albert's current life, despite being rich and successful, still could not fill the loneliness in his heart. His career success could not replace the sincere love he once had for Ladonna. Long evenings and hard-working days sometimes could not make him forget the past. Albert still silently waits for an opportunity to close the old chapter and find true meaning in life. One ordinary morning, Albert was working in the office when he received a delicate letter. When he opened it, his heart stopped beating. It was an invitation to the wedding of Ladonna, the woman he once loved deeply. 4 years had passed since their breakup, but his feelings for her had never completely faded. Now, she was about to marry another man, perhaps someone who could give her the full life she had always dreamed of. The words on the card were like a shock to Albert, reminding him of what he had lost. His heart was filled with mixed emotions. He wondered whether he should attend the wedding or not. He was worried that appearing there would be a testament to his failure, as he would have to face the image of his ex-lover in a wedding dress, standing next to another man. But on the contrary, if he did not go, he would lose the chance to see Ladonna in the most beautiful moment of her life. In the days that followed, Albert was torn. Part of him wanted to close the past, to face Ladonna one last time. But another part feared that his presence would only add to the pain. The struggle in his mind made it impossible for him to decide. Every evening he sat by the window, thinking about the past and wondering if attending the wedding would be a way for him to escape the painful memories of the past 4 years. The invitation still lay on the table, a reminder of what had been lost. As the wedding day drew closer, Albert knew he didn't have much time to decide. This decision would be a turning point in his life, no matter what the outcome. Ladonna's wedding day was approaching, and Albert still couldn't make a final decision about attending. In his heart, a constant battle between reason and emotion was taking place, leaving him trapped in confusion. On the afternoon before the wedding, Albert, with a heavy heart, decided to take a walk to clear his head. While wandering the familiar streets, Albert unexpectedly met Fawziya, a homeless woman sitting on the corner. Although she was dressed in rags, her eyes exuded an incredible strength and will to live. She was unlike other homeless people. There was something about Fawziya's resilient appearance that made Albert able to take his eyes off her. Feeling an indescribable connection, he approached her and exchanged a few small talk. Through the short conversation, Albert realized that Fawziya was not just an ordinary homeless woman. Her difficult life had taught her many things about willpower and endurance. Despite her difficult circumstances, she still maintained her self-respect and resilience. The stories of Fawziya's turbulent life made Albert feel that he understood her deeply. They found a kindred spirit, a connection that Albert did not expect. In a moment of impulse, Albert decided to invite Fawziya to attend Ladonna's wedding with him. At first, Fawziya was a bit surprised and skeptical about this unexpected invitation. Why would a rich man like Albert want to invite her, a homeless person, to such a luxurious event? However, seeing the sincerity in Albert's eyes, she agreed. She felt that, like her, Albert was also facing a painful inner battle. With that bold decision, Albert not only found a companion in this difficult journey, but also felt that the appearance of Fawziya would bring a big change in his life. Both of them, though coming from completely different backgrounds, find each other at a fateful moment where their empathy and inner strength brighten the path ahead. Fawziya's appearance in Albert's life is like a breath of fresh air, blowing away the dark patches of the past and opening up new rays of hope. He begins to realize that, perhaps, his choice is not only related to closing an old love, but also opening a new journey with unpredictable things. Ladonna's wedding day arrived. Albert, in his elegant suit, stood in front of the mirror, looking at himself one more time before stepping out. Beside him, Fawziya, the woman he had met by chance just the day before, appeared with no less elegance. Despite coming from a difficult background, Fawziya confidently wore a simple yet elegant dress that Albert had prepared for her. Seeing Fawziya in the mirror, Albert felt a change in his heart. She was not only a companion to his wedding, but also a symbol of the strength and confidence that he needed. They walked into the wedding hall, where an air of luxury and opulence filled the space. Every gaze followed them as they entered. Albert, now a successful man, appeared with a confident and calm demeanor. But what surprised everyone was the woman beside him, Fawziya. She walked with confidence and elegance as if she had long belonged to this world. Her presence overshadowed all the other women in the wedding hall, especially Ladonna. From afar, Ladonna saw Albert. For a moment, she couldn't believe her eyes. The man she had left because of poverty had now become a completely different person. He looked radiant and successful, but what stunned Ladonna the most was the woman beside him. Fawziya, with her confident and charming appearance, made Ladonna feel unsteady. She couldn't stop thinking about the decision she had made 4 years ago. While the party continued, Ladonna kept glancing at Albert and Fawziya from afar. Her emotions were surging, mixed with regret and confusion. Ladonna had thought that Albert would come to her wedding alone, carrying a sad and gloomy look, as a testament to his failure in life. But now he appeared with a completely different look, strong, confident, and happy. Fawziya, though a stranger to this wedding, shined unexpectedly. Not only did she attract everyone's attention, but she also made Ladonna feel uneasy. In her heart, feelings of regret grew as she saw Albert happy with another woman. She wondered if her decision to break up with him because of poverty back then was a mistake. Even though she had married a rich and stable man, the image of Albert with Fawziya made her question her choice. As for Albert, when he saw Ladonna in a white wedding dress, he felt his heart quieter than ever. The day that he had worried would be an unending pain now brought him an unexpected lightness and serenity. He realized that his feelings for Ladonna had long since faded. What remained were only memories, no longer the deep pain as before. Fawziya's presence beside him was a clear proof that he had overcome that dark period of his life. During the party, Albert and Fawziya talked, laughed, and enjoyed the atmosphere. With each passing moment, Albert felt that he had found joy and meaning in life again. Ladonna, watching from afar, saw more clearly that the love between her and Albert was truly a thing of the past. What made her regret the most was that she had lost a good man just because of temporary poverty. When the ceremony ended, Albert left the wedding hall with Fawziya, leaving behind everything that was the past. He walked away with peace of mind and new hope, while Ladonna stood there, silently watching with endless regret. Albert had finally overcome the obsession with his old love and realized that his present and future no longer belonged to Ladonna. What matters to him now is what he has found in Fawziya, a strong, confident woman who brings him peace of mind. When the ceremony ended, Ladonna felt an uneasy feeling regret. Watching Albert and Fawziya leave the wedding hall, she couldn't rest. He was no longer the poor man she had abandoned, but now a confident, successful, happy man. That image made Ladonna face the truth she had been denying for so long. She had lost a wonderful man. Ladonna remembered the days they spent together, Albert's sincere love, the way he always tried to bring her happiness despite difficult conditions. At that time, she thought that a stable material life was more important, and that was the reason she left him. But now, seeing Albert happy with Fawziya, Ladonna realized that money and comfort cannot replace true love. Ladonna's future husband was rich and stable, but she couldn't stop thinking about Albert. When she looked at Fawziya, she understood that it was a connection from the heart, something she had once had with Albert but now lost. Regret welled up in her heart. Ladonna realized that she had made a mistake in giving up true love to pursue a material life. Although she understood that everything was too late, regret still tormented her. Albert had moved on and found happiness with someone else. Standing among the congratulatory crowd, Ladonna felt a void that could not be filled. She kept wondering if life would have been different if she had chosen to stay with Albert. As he left the wedding hall, Albert felt a sense of peace that he had never felt before. He and Fawziya walked in silence, but they both felt one thing: the past was closed. The days of haunting him about his old love with Ladonna were truly over. The wedding was not only a moment to witness Ladonna in a white wedding dress, but also an important milestone that helped Albert realize that he had overcome his old love. Looking back, Albert understood that the pain and loss he had experienced had helped him grow and become stronger. Over the past 4 years, he had built a new life for himself, not only successful in his career, but also found peace in his soul. Fawziya, the homeless woman he met by chance, had become an indispensable part of that process. Her appearance not only brought Albert a change in his perspective on life, but also helped him open up to the present. Fawziya, who had been through countless hardships, now felt a great change. She had always lived with an independent and resilient mindset, but her relationship with Albert gave her a sense of security and hope for a bright future. Both of them, despite coming from different backgrounds, found in each other a deep commonality in life and sincere values. In the last moments of the day, when Albert and Fawziya stopped at a nearby park, they both sat and enjoyed the peaceful atmosphere. Albert turned to Fawziya, took her hand and smiled. He knew that, although life ahead might still be full of challenges, he was ready to face them all, because he was no longer alone. Fawziya had become a new light in his life, helping him forget his old sorrows and find true joy. "Thank you," Albert whispered, his eyes filled with gratitude. Fawziya smiled back, feeling the warmth of their connection. They had gone through a momentous moment together, and they both knew that what lay ahead would be much more meaningful than the past that Albert had left behind. And from that moment on, Albert and Fawziya officially embarked on a journey no longer haunted by painful memories but filled with hope and faith in the future.